Have the prime movers or the other people behind the motion, have they came up to you and talked to you about some of the feedback? Have they given you feedback? Or what have you heard?
Yeah, some of the people who signed the petition have come and spoken to me, and many of them said that they wanted me to understand there were real concerns. And that didn't necessarily translate to non-confidence.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure that there are some that felt stronger though. So I've heard from many. There are many more I'd love to hear from.
Okay.
I would love them to come and talk to me and tell me their concerns, and I hope they will.
Yeah. This is just a personal interest question because right around when that was happening, I first became editor-in-chief, having been thrown into it, and in a good way though. It was my first real serious reporting that I did. And,
was on the council meeting?
Yeah, so it was very intense to go back and forth and covering it. The whole thing was very intense, and so during the council meeting, you stood on stage for about an hour, while members of the council debated your governance, some very personally, some not. How did it feel to be up there for that hour?
It was 2 hours.
Yeah.
2 hours I was up there. It was very difficult, very hard. I was chairing, so I couldn't engage. I needed to maintain the role of a professional chair, and I hope I did so. It was hard to hear that there was so much unrest on campus, and that I had not been attuned to it like I should have been.
Okay.
So it was what I did afterwards, Michael, was a lot of reflection, and I think hopefully I'll be a better leader because of it. I had to reflect a lot on how we got to that point, and I wasn't aware that there were so many concerns. So I work really hard now to try to make sure that I have my ear to the ground, that faculty feel they can talk to me, that I can respond to concerns, that I pay attention now to rumors that are not true. I know that I was approached that I was running for government in Nova Scotia. Wasn't true.
You're shortlisted. So.
Yeah, it was like many rumors
Yes.
that have gone around, and trying to deal with those up front and be a little more proactive than I was in the past.
Okay.
I used to think they'll work themselves out and people will recognize that that's a rumor. That's not the case. No. You need to be proactive. So hopefully as we go forward, the campus will recognize that I do hear and listen, and I want to hear their concerns. But it was personally and professionally one of the most difficult days that I experienced. Through it, my hope is I'll be better at what I do.
Last semester, when the budget came out, tuition for students did go up. What can students expect to change? I guess that, and then just talk a little bit about tuition going up and students' concerns about that.
Yeah, and I think students should be concerned about their tuition costs. One of the things I'm proud of is we have kept our tuition low compared to other universities in Canada. I think we're about the 6th lowest of English-speaking universities in Canada. There is some data out there about Saskatchewan, but that brings in the med school and the law school at U of S and average it. It's not the University of Regina. So we've kept conscious effort to keep our tuition below the average, and I'll continue to do so. The other investment we've made is in scholarships and bursaries for students who need support. In particular, we have put a significant amount of money into bursaries for Aboriginal students, who come with more financial challenges than maybe some of our other students. So we're really paying attention. We've started scholarships for students with disabilities. So we're trying to mitigate the increase in tuition by supports for students. The other area we've invested in is jobs on campus for students.
For sure.
We want more and more of our students working on campus rather than working in restaurants or off campus, so that we have them here.
Absolutely.
But it is a concern. It's one we're watching carefully and monitoring, and we want university to be accessible for our youth. So we'll continue that path.
When the tuition's approved by the Board of Governors, it usually results from the funding that comes from the government and the budget. If the U of R doesn't get what it's asked for next year, can students expect for tuition to go up? Is that the cause and effect that happens between the two? That's
part of the cause and effect. But we also look at enrollments. If enrollment increase, then we're able to manage budgets a little better. Definitely, students should watch carefully. I think tuition will go up. the idea would be to keep it at the cost of living. We've been a little above that. But not a lot above it. You know, the cost of living was 2%. We were, I think, 3.8 for tuition. So we're trying to keep it around there as close as we can. Government funding, our costs at a university rise about 4% a year, and we get about 2% government funding. So there's
Why do the costs rise like that?
When you look at water, power, heat, just the water alone, you know, costs have gone way up over the last year. If you look at this is like a city within a city. So if you look at all our utilities, the costs go up, salaries go up, increased supports for students goes up when enrollments go up. So we've had to, you know, this year in particular, we've invested into supports for students who experience mental health issues. We increased our counseling supports. We need to do that as we go forward. So, you know, there's a variety of reasons that the costs go up. And we're trying to mitigate it and manage it carefully. And I think everyone is aware of that. Our faculty last year, you know, had a very small raise because they recognize the challenges to the university budget.
So last year, what did the U of R ask for from the budget?
We asked the government for over 4%, around 4%, and we received 2%.
Yeah, and then it was the University of Saskatchewan, I was reading that did ask for 2%.
Yes.
Is there any interplay between what the U of S asks for and what we ask for and what we end up getting and what they get? And
that's not been our history, but it's something we could collaborate much more on.
Okay.
They had done a whole program around staff layoffs, so we were not doing that.
No.
We did end up reducing some jobs, but we tried to keep that to a minimum. So we had a different approach to how we managed our budgets.
Okay.
Neither right, neither wrong, just a different approach. But you know, we do communicate really well about our approach that we're taking, and we're different institutions.
Yeah, for sure. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Well, I just want to just emphasize how exciting it is today to be here. On Saturday, when I came to the residents move-in, the first student I met was from Egypt, who came. The second student I met was from Toronto. And then I met a ton of Saskatchewan students and Alberta students who are here.
Yeah.
So it's a really fun time. I love asking students why they chose the University of Regina, and I'm really pleased with how many chose it because they feel it's a good university, a university with great programs, professors and staff. So, you know, it's one that I'm proud to be president of. Sure. And if students could do what you do, get engaged, find a niche on campus where they can put their energies and get fulfillment, they'll have a great experience here.
Right on. So last question. Is there anything else you'd like to say to you of our students, both coming here first, returning students?
I'd like to say welcome and welcome back, everyone. Be proud of your university because we're very proud of you.
Right on. Okay, thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk to us.
Thank you, Michael.